from Tennessee. Senator, this portion of Philadelphia, you can see the peaceful protests that are happening. Moments ago, we all watched together protests, rioting, looting, quite a violent scene in one area of Philadelphia, while we continue to see unrest across the nation. Some peaceful protesting still happening like we saw in Austin, Texas, but some of those peaceful protests in recent days and evenings we have seen turn violent. Your thoughts?
Oh, it is heartbreaking to see this. And Sandra, as your previous guest was just saying, the Department of Justice, your state bureaus of investigation, they're going to figure out who is behind all of this. And as I was listening to that interview, I was thinking there's been a lot said about contact tracing to do with coronavirus and contact tracers being hired. Let me tell you something. That is nothing compared to the contact tracing that is going to take place with all of these riots. These people tried to go out the last couple of nights and burn down America. And I will tell you, law enforcement is going to figure out who organized it, who has put this money behind it to give these Antifa members what they need. But so if you've been on social media and you've been saying, I know friends that went to the protest, I know friends that went to the riot, you're probably going to get a knock on your door from the FBI or in Tennessee, the TBI, and they're going to want to know what you know.
Wow. So we are listening to this together, Senator, and you see the scene there in Philadelphia, trying to get an idea of what the chants are there on the ground. As you look on at Miami, Florida, and you can see the peaceful protesters there as they march through the streets. And so many curfews now in place, Sandra, some even moved up.
Right. I think it's important to note peaceful protest is appropriate. That is something that we cherish, the right to petition our government, having that opportunity for peaceful protest. But this violence, these riots, this is no way to honor the memory of George Floyd. These are riots that are being organized and they're taking place across the country. These are people trying to burn down the country and to incite civil unrest. And I feel so deeply for individuals that live in these communities that have been impacted. You look at what has transpired in Nashville last night with the fires at the Metro Courthouse, and then going down to Lower Broad, 30 businesses that were destroyed. These are people's livelihoods. Hello. And it is absolutely heartbreaking to me.
Senator Blackburn, you just mentioned what was playing out in Nashville. We've been showing Philadelphia. We have some breaking news now from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Our chief White House correspondent John Roberts is reporting that the mayor there has declared a civil emergency after what they're describing as a credible threat against the Myrtle Beach Police Department. Basically, there are 3 busloads of protesters, we're told, on their way to the city they say, they use the word protest in front of the police headquarters. We saw what happened to at least one or more police headquarters in the Minneapolis area. So they're now declaring a civil emergency. So, Senator, I want to add that to what you're saying. A moment ago, you said that some of these folks are trying to burn down the country. When you go through city after city where this is happening, has it reached the level, in your opinion, that the president does need to give an Oval Office address or something like that, since this is not just happening in one city, and maybe it's a time to take a pause and hear from him directly?
And I think you're right. I think it is time for the president to address the country. There are an awful lot of security moms across this country, and I've heard from so many. I've heard from dozens of them in the past 2 days, and they are fearful. They don't know exactly what to do. They have handled COVID, and now they're handling this. They have tremendous concerns. And what we know is this: that thin blue line is what so often stands between chaos and calm. We are seeing these cities, these mayors, Philadelphia, different areas, all these big city mayors, they're going to have to get a handle on this. And now you're talking about Myrtle Beach, you're talking about Nashville, you're talking about other cities across the country. So this has to be something that is an orchestrated effort, that it's not a fully organic effort. And to me, it is absolutely heartbreaking. This is something that the National Guard, these mayors are going to have to work with their governors, get the National Guard out. DOJ is going to have to do the investigation. Those of us at Senate Judiciary, Department of Homeland Security, we're going to have to get in behind this also, figure out exactly what happened, and figure out what these local law enforcement entities need that they are not getting in order to be prepared for this. That's a part of this, Senator, too. It's a discussion for a later day.
Senator, the president just put out another tweet a moment ago. He retweeted video that so many of us, unfortunately, have had to see by now of a man in Dallas who was trying to protect his business. He was struck by looters, violently assaulted, stomped. It is on video. The president retweeted it and said, "So terrible," in capital letters. Where are the arrests and long-term jail sentences? The president has tweeted several times as we've been watching the violence and the unrest in Philadelphia. He was tweeting while we saw those police vehicles overtaken by rioters there and smashed together. To go back to Ed's question, though, about the president addressing the nation and what needs to be done to answer the question that we're all wondering as Americans. We're watching this together. Are we doing enough? Are we speaking out enough? Are we taking enough action?
At this point, I don't think we are taking enough action. And this is where these mayors are going to have to step up, working with their local leaders and begin to get their arms around this and provide. Everybody wants to have peace. They want to see justice. They want to be able to trust their institutions. But Sandra, until you calm these situations down and stop the riots and get this looting and rioting, which is lawlessness. We are a nation of laws. We do not live in lawlessness, and this has got to come to an end. Absolutely. And it is going to take, we talk a lot about having partnerships in government, local, state, and federal level partnerships. And this is one of those areas where you're going to have to see this happen. And it has got to happen quickly, very quickly, to stop the destruction of these cities and of these communities and help people get back to the point that they can put their head on a pillow at night and know that they can go to sleep and they're not going to be in the middle of some kind of riot that is taking place in their neighborhood.
Senator Marsha Blackburn from Tennessee joining us as we continue to watch